Hello and welcome to another fly tying episode with Stuart Foxall. Today he is tying an Argus Wing Akroyd, a traditional D fly. So we're starting off with a single hook with our thread up by the eye end and working our way down to the centre of the body before we tie in some silver wire that's going to be the tag for this fly. So we work our way back to the hook point and then we're going to wind on the tag. Nice tight turns, potentially 9 to 10 with this small wire. You can use a thicker wire with less turns, but the smaller wire tends to look a bit sleeker. When you're happy, tie it into place and trim away the waste. For the tail section, we're going to tie in some GP crest. Then we're going to add some GP tippet over the top of this. Tying in tight against the tag section to flare up the materials. Next, we're going to add in a black ostrich herl that's going to act as our veil. When you're happy with how it looks, tie in the material and trim away the waste. Next, at the tip section, we're going to tie in some hackle that's going to be the body hackle for the back half of the fly. Work the thread up the body to tie in all of the waste materials from this back portion of the fly. Next, we're going to tie in some silver oval tinsel that's going to be the ribbing for the back half of the fly as well. Then to cover up these waste materials, we're going to build up the back half of the body with some dubbing. Make sure to spread the dubbing quite thinly across the thread so that the body isn't too fat. Work your way up to halfway up the shank. Add a little bit more if you need to. To change threads, we're going to add a couple of whip finishes and then switch over to our black thread. We use a lighter thread on the back half of the body so that it doesn't show through the lighter materials, and a black thread on the front half so that it blends with the darker materials. Next, we're going to take our body hackle and wind it halfway up the body to the front of the dubbing. And when we're happy with the placement, we'll tie it off and trim away the waste. Next, in the opposite direction, going over the stem of the body hackle, we're going to wind our oval tinsel. Be careful not to crush too many fibres, move them out of the way so that you can fit the rib in, and wind up to the end of the dubbing. And secure it into place. Next, we're going to take a dubbing brush and just try and brush out some of these dubbing materials to blend with the hackle fibres. Next, we're going to tie in another black ostrich herl that's going to act as our middle veil. And when you're happy with how it looks, tie it into place and trim away the waste. Next, we're going to tie in some flat maraj tinsel. Then at the tip sections, we're going to tie in a larger black heron hackle. This is going to act as the body hackle for the front section of the fly. Next, we're going to tie in some black floss that's going to be the front body of the fly. Make sure everything is nice and smooth before you start winding the floss. And wind it up the body with nice tight overlapping turns. We're going to work our way up to the front of the fly, leaving a little bit of room for the head section. Next, we're going to take our flat tinsel and make 3 to 4 turns around the body for the ribbing. Tie it into place and trim away the waste. Next, we're going to take our black heron hackle, and we can use the rotation on the vise to carefully line up the stem with the ribbing. When we reach the front of the fly, we're going to make a few more turns with the heron hackle to up the fibre content. When you're happy, tie it off and trim away the waste. Add a few more turns of thread just to make sure everything is nice and secure, as it can have quite a thick stem. Next, we're going to take some teal hackle fibres and tie them in at the bottom of the fly to add a throat. This can be done in a couple of sections. Carefully trim away the waste. Next, we're going to add some jungle cock eyes, and these sit underneath the fly. When you're happy with the placement, trim away the waste. Next, we're going to add some pre-prepared married wings, one on each side of the fly. Just make some minor adjustments to make sure that you're happy with the placement of the wings, and then secure them into place with some tight turns. And when you're happy, trim away the waste. For extra security, we're just going to add a bit more super glue to our thread so that we can tie it into the end of the married wings. Compress the materials with the end of your nail if you need to. Add a few whip finishes to start building the shape of the head of the fly. Then trim it off. And to finish a nice presentation and shape of the head for the fly, we're going to use some black varnish. For extra security, you can wait for this to dry and then repeat the process 2 more times. So there you have it, that's the Argus Wing Akroyd, a traditional fly for the River Dee. If you like this fly, don't forget to like and comment down below, tell us what you would like to see next. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for updates when new videos go live. I'm working on a number of new videos right now for a big project, so stay tuned. Until next time, tight lines.